Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Dakisha Williams, your webinar strategist. And over the next few minutes, I want to talk a little bit about number one, why I started to use webinars in business in the first place. And then number two, are they dead? Are webinars dead? And honestly, I should probably do two videos, but hey, we're already here. So first and foremost, when I started my business back in 2012, I actually started writing business plans for other people, and I absolutely cannot stand like writing someone else's business plans. But anyway, neither here nor there. But when I left corporate America, August 24th, 2011, I knew then that I did not want to be in a position where I was traveling because the previous position that I held, mic check, mic check. The previous position that I held, I was a district manager, and I was responsible for um, 13 locations over 5 states. And so I was always traveling. I was always in the airport. I was always traveling, and I was always expected to do visits. And so it pulled me away from being able to be at school functions for my children. Well, of course, when I started, they were 5 and 11. So fast forward, 10, 12 years later? Y'all do the math. They were 5 and 11, and they are 18. So 13 years later. So 18 and 24 as we speak. And so when I look back, I know that both of my children will be able to tell you that there is very few events or functions that their mom missed. And that is something that meant a lot to me as a parent, just, raising two children who are, Lord have mercy, very athletic. And I promise you, in all sorts of sports. And so as we look back 13 years later, webinars just happened to be that thing, or it was very conveniently placed in front of me at the opportune time. And so this was, oh my God, I'm about to date myself, y'all. But this was back when the particular platform that I used to use was a WordPress plugin. So that tells you how the industry hasn't evolved. This was back when influencers were using free conference calls and teleconferences, Google Hangouts. So listen, I've been in the game for a while. Like, this is nothing new. Okay. So anyway, webinars became the thing, and they really took off because you did not have to invest in, the funds or the financial to travel. You could host an event online virtually, and you didn't have to pay for hotels, conference rooms, and things of that nature. Even if I was a speaker, right? They would pay me $15,000-$20,000 to go speak at an event, plus flight, plus hotel. And so I'm still being pulled away from the family for 3 days or so, depending on, when the event is and things like that. So I made the decision to only go to conferences where I was speaking to grow my business. I did not want to be at that time a keynote speaker where my business was built specifically off of keynote presentations where I had to travel. So I turned to webinars. And from there, I started teaching other people how to build a 6-figure webinar funnel. That's a whole nother story for another day. So that's really the why behind, why did you choose webinars? Like, what made you start using webinars in your business? I get asked a lot. But then there was a point in time where I felt like webinars were like super dead, right? Like, nobody's doing webinars anymore. They're all automated. They're all evergreen, and they're all set up where they're simulated lives and all of that, right? But within the last year, 2 years, I'm starting to see more influencers kind of step into the webinar space. I'm seeing more coaches include webinar training in their curriculums. 2 things I'm gonna say about that, then I'm gonna be out. I might piss somebody off. It's all good. because they already know I'll do a whole video on why Zoom is not a webinar platform. But anyway, so two things. If you have influencers that are tapping into teaching you how to have a profitable webinar funnel, there should be some type of light bulb that goes off to you that they actually work, and that you should really considering having a webinar funnel in your business. I ain't gonna call no names, but ads. I have seen marketing that is really, really going heavy around webinars to build and to grow and build their business. I said, wait a minute, let me find out y'all want to teach webinars now. But yeah, it was very interesting. And so then the other thing is you have to be careful, not trying to be funny, but just keeping it real. You have to be careful when people include as a bonus, let's just say you're in a coaching program and they say, oh, well, we'll teach you how to do your webinar, right? So that's the difference between a generalist and a specialist. It's like 3 videos all wrapped into one. But that's the difference between a generalist and a specialist. And well, why do you say that? Because at the end of the day, I am a specialist. And so I am going to look at your webinar funnel from the entry point until the day you close your cart. Okay. Now, some coaches, not saying all, some coaches will give you the webinar template and be like, go do it on Zoom. I'll see you later. That's not what we do. And for some of our clients, we actually produce and we are on an actual webinar with our clients. Just depends. But we're going to look at your messaging of your webinar. Like I'm not going to just give you a template and tell you to plug and play. I'm going to look at the messaging and make sure that it resonates with your audience. I'm going to look at how you're promoting it, right? I'm going to look at how you're following up on the back end side. And because a lot of people don't put as much energy on the follow-up of the webinar as they do on the promotion of the webinar. I'm just saying. So I look at the entire webinar funnel as a whole. And that means starting from the time you promote until the time you do your measuring and your analysis of what worked, what didn't work. So that could be easily an 8 to 12 week process if you are doing a virtual event or a virtual training. Granted, I might be like, oh, I'm going to do one in 3 days. That's different. We have processes and systems in place. But if you've never done a webinar before, if you've done a webinar and your attendance is low, if you've done a webinar and you haven't closed, then you definitely need someone that's going to be there to support you and actually look at it and tell you where you are making the mistakes, where the leaks are in your funnel. So I just wanted to come on. Good afternoon, really quickly, and not only just share like what caused me to step into this space of using webinars in my business, and then are they still relevant? Are they still working? And so the short answer is absolutely. Granted, a lot of people are doing automated webinars, but my take on that is don't automate it until you know it converts. Period, point blank. Because the last thing that you want to do is put together something that you don't know whether it's converting. You don't know if people want it, and then you're running ads to it, so you're wasting money. That's all I got. So just wanted to jump in here for a few minutes. If you got questions about it, you can comment webinar. If you want to create consistent leads in your business, there should be a link in or around this video, wherever you're watching it. If not, I'll put it in the comments so that you too can create consistent leads in your business. It's www.createconsistentleads.com. My name is Dakisha Williams, your webinar strategist. Be passionate, be purposeful, but more importantly, be profitable. I'll see you guys next time.